Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Total Picture. Today we're going rogue, so let's roll that intro. So as we continue to prepare for detasseling season, that should be starting next week with our first passes with the cutter, I wanted to dive into something that is a part of our growing process that we don't always touch on, but it's still a major part, and that is some of our walking passes. So we have a few different types of walking passes that we do, and they're just what they sound like. They're passes that we take that we don't use rolling equipment. We have to actually walk the fields to complete these passes because they are a very hands-on, eye to the dirt sort of thing that we have to do. So the two things that we're talking about today are taking up volunteer and deroguing. So these are two sort of passes that we do every year in our cornfields, and they help us to get rid of unwanted growth. So volunteer is corn from last year that, kernels fell off as we were harvesting, what have you, and they actually survived the winter and they took up the roots this spring. So obviously it's very hard to go through a field after harvest and pick out every kernel that finds its way off the cob. So one thing we have to do is once our corn starts coming up, we can recognize where the volunteer is, and we go in with a hoe and we simply just take it out of the ground. It's a pretty simple process because the odds of that corn being planted perfectly in line with new rows or even in a field that has corn in it is very unlikely. So that's the first step that we have, is taking up that volunteer from last year. And then the other side of it, deroguing, is when we go back through and we look for corn that is planted off the direct line that we planted. So this is corn that if we have 5 in a row and then the 6th one is off and then we're back on, we call that one that's off a rogue, because it's off that direct line that we want to see. And we take that up, one, because it helps with how we take care of our fields, and two, there's a chance that it's not what we want there. It's a volunteer corn, what have you, so we have to get rid of that as well. Since our corn is cross-pollinated with a male and female in our fields, we have to be very careful of what is growing in the field and what is releasing pollen come the detasseling season. So it's at a point now where our corn is growing, our corn is healthy and strong, so we can easily identify those rogues and volunteers that have come up from last year. So when we derogue, we actually have crews that go out and they sweep the fields in large passes, and this kind of helps us hit big fields very quickly. If we just had 1 or 2 people out there, it takes quite a while. It's actually a very big job to do with just a couple people. So we have crews that sweep the fields back and forth, and they have their rows that they are accountable for, and they help us make sure that we're hitting every single step along this field to make sure we don't miss anything. Again, we want to make sure that our corn plants come this fall are hybridized perfectly, and we have the right corn coming into our facility, and we're getting the best product we can for ourselves to send out to our customers, because that's what they count on. That's what we want to provide. We want to have the best quality of product at the end of the day. So these big teams, they help us get our deroguing done quickly, efficiently, and as completely as possible. And so after this, we actually have another walking pass that we'll get into later, which is our stand count. And those we'll use after we've cut and pulled our fields, and that kind of helps us determine how our field is progressing, how the pollination process is going. It's actually the last walking pass we have before harvest, but we'll get into that later, and we'll have a full explanation about what that is and how it works later on down the road. For now, that's all we have for this week. I thought it was a fun little topic that, like I said, we don't touch on very often, but it's just as important because it helps us have that control we need over our fields. And we utilize a method that is tedious, but it's effective, and it gets the job done as good as we absolutely want it to. So, like I said, it just thought it'd be a fun topic to bring up and talk about and show you a little bit more of what goes on and what goes into us growing the best seeds in the world, and why we stake our claim to that, because we do these extra steps, we do the passes that get us in the dirt, and it's part of why we take pride in our work. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you did, please give this video a like and subscribe to our channel. And if you need more content from us, you can go find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and TikTok. And if you want even more content from us, you can go subscribe to our monthly Total Focus newsletter. Thank you guys again for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video. We'll see you next week. Bye for now.